3 commentary channels you would love to work with, 3 you would never work with. Let's burn some bridges. The beauty of my current predicament of not having that many subscribers and none of said people really being likely to watch any of my shit, fuck it, let's have some fun. I'm gonna flip it up though. I'm gonna start with the people that I wouldn't work with. So let's throw a wrench into your little system right here, cat in a brain. Well, I certainly wouldn't want to work with The Right Opinion. Having been an editor for him for years, I know all about his really weird quirks and tics. Yeah, fine, he's a respectable enough content creator, but he did a string of acclaimed, heavily viewed videos on a person who shan't be named. And what did he do after that? He immediately got all introspective and shit with the Q&A. Like, have you ever heard of such a pussy beta move? Rightfully, it tanked view-wise, only pulling in a fraction. Serves him right. How dare he cover something that isn't awful? Also, he likes Elton John. What a fucking boomer. Up next, Daft Pina, who's kind of a fringe commentary person at this point. I wouldn't even go as far to call what he does that much commentary-like. We all came to know him for his sharp critiques on the Storytime animator community. He made some really banging videos, including some on Jaden Animations. He really went for the jugular, as any commentator should. But then what did he do? He 180'd, chickened out, and removed those videos and fucking apologized. I mean, as anyone who's a fan of commentary knows, you never apologize for anything. You stand your ground, no matter how fucking wrong you are, no matter how much you grow as a person. Fuck that shit. It's bad for business, it's bad for content.
I met some nice fans, animators, and a few people I once made videos on along the way.
Quentin reviews. Fallen Titans. Fallen Titans.
Fallen Titan.
I fucking hate Trump. I fucking hate Trump.
Lastly, Gokinaru, scuffed Logan Paul himself. What an absolute Chad. Comes out of nowhere with a fucking silver bullet for Ethan Klein, aka H3H3. The first H stands for hypocrite, and the second H stands for fucking Jew. And his nearly feature-length epic about how much this motherfucker sucks and has always sucked really blew everyone's mind and made us think, wow, here comes a new king of the genre, a new commentary king making his way into the fucking YouTube game. And what happened after? Not a whole fucking lot. Yeah, his Mumkey video was okay and all, but it took a while to get there. And if you dig any further into the guy's catalog, I mean, what is this? What are these fucking vlogs with his brothers? He's like cracking jokes and showing that he like enjoys his life or something. He has a video,
I don't want to be a bitter old man.
and it's the most cringe thing on the face of the planet. Like, you want to show people that you're actually sensitive underneath the snarky exterior?
Because let's be honest here, like, me sacrificing my free time so that I can work for minimum wage, am I really like making my manager's day? Like, can they not just find somebody who's pretty much as good as me? They can, right? Like, why am I still, I don't know.
Bad form, my guy. That is awful for your brand. Getting all thematic and shit. Like, it was cool when you were making fun of H3H3 because he's cringe and not Keemstar and is a fucking Jew. But if you're just gonna be all thematic and you're not even trying to end someone's career, like, what's the fucking point? Get over yourself. Just quit now.
Okay, Son Goku. I don't want to work with you. That much remains true. But since I started working on this, you dropped a little thing called the Hong Kong vlog, a project where you chronicle your travels in Hong Kong to get a sociological idea of how things work over there. And frankly, you're really doing God's work, because by doing so, you're able to show all the fucked up shit that's happening in that superpower of a fuck-off country. And that's gonna serve some valuable ammunition when we're trying to recruit people to be on the right side of history. Because here in the good old US of A, we don't do any of that shit here. We're all about free speech. We're all about justice and stuff. So yeah, I think it's actually really cool of you to highlight the kind of fucked up shit that happens in other countries. What's that?
Historic moves this weekend to change the state flag, the last with a Confederate battle emblem. Here's CBS's Kate Smith.
Anyway, let's talk about some people that I do want to work with.
Let's get right.
Number 1, Turkey Tom. Fucking chicken chat. Fucking Emu Emmanuel himself.
I think we're getting away from the main point here. Do you mind if I just get a word in here? Hi, Destiny. My name is my name is Tom. I'm taking some notes this whole time. I just thought it'd be good to interject this point. I think this should bring something new to the table. I don't know if you guys have checked out Raid Shadow Legends, one of the biggest mobile role-playing games of 2019, and it's totally free.
Rickson sub after sub after sub has dwarfed my sub count for as long as I've known him, largely called an IHE clone to the point that he even made a video addressing it, revealing just how much of an empath and advocate for creativity that he is and always has been.
Putting in the effort to make a YouTube channel in the first place, you deserve some credit to begin with, I think. Maybe I'm just too nice. When I was a kid, maybe 11 years old or so, I had a dream that one day I would create a cartoon. So I would draw all these pictures and write out plots and scripts, and eventually when I bought a computer, I would do all these little test animations and things like that. It was a real dream of mine. But eventually I realized that I have no talent for animation, and I gave up.
But I get it, you gotta be edgy if you want them views.
He's since become everyone's favorite edgelord, with the signature style of putting his face on things that already exist, mostly mob movies. I like mob movies, they have dope-ass soundtracks, and Tom knows that too. He uses it all the time in his videos. Fuck it, rags to riches, I'ma use it.
It's worth bringing up that the person I have the most interaction with in this video is definitely the right opinion. As I said, I've been editor for him of nearly 2 years, and I've even spent a good amount of one-on-one IRL time with the motherfucker. And sure, nice enough bloke, but at the end of the day, the energy that radiates off the guy, so not baller. He doesn't have the cutthroat instincts that one needs in order to make a name for himself in this business. Meanwhile, Tom, who I've only interacted with on Discord a couple of times, with what little I heard of him, he demonstrated to me that he has the forward personality and the brashness you need in order to get what you want in this world. Like, here's my favorite example. One time I was invited onto a group call. He was hosting a movie night where he was showing people one of his favorite films, Reservoir Dogs. Nice choice. A nostalgic choice for me too, because the first time I watched Reservoir Dogs, it was actually in high school. So I dropped in maybe like 20, 30 minutes into the film. I had some other stuff I had to do ahead of time. I told these lovely people, you know, the first time I watched this was actually on an iPod Classic in my bed, not too long after Apple movie rentals started on iTunes, to which Tom responded, being the quick-witted entrepreneur that he is. I remember the first time I fucked your mother under your bed. Confidence, chutzpah. These are qualities that you want as a content creator. Don't pussyfoot, don't build up repertoire before you start going ham on somebody who you barely know. You see an opening and you just get in there like swimwear. You cannot go through your life just up and caring about shit, you know? What has sensitivity ever done for anybody besides make them unable to fight the good fight against those who they know are weak-minded and whatnot? I almost got hit by a UPS truck. That's my grit. That's my attempt to be a stronger person. I gotta callous up my little snowflake heart. I'm thinking about going into an old folks home and just going like, I didn't live in the 50s, idiot.
More importantly, though, I really like how Tom doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks about him. He'll say what he wants when he wants, even if half the time it's a bunch of unwitting dog whistles for people to talk about how much they don't like fucking Jews.
Now, I know some of the more sensitive viewers in my audience might be wondering why I keep bringing up the Jews. And while obviously I'm joking, none of us really care that much about the Jews being around, you know? I mean, that's obviously just a little hyperbolic humor on our part, which honestly, generally speaking, frankly, we need more of in a place like America. When me or Tom or other people do a little gag where we question, let's say, if the Holocaust even happened, most people would pick up on the fact that we're, as the kids say, just memeing, clowning around, acting a fool. We're just taking part in the same tradition as any of the other great iconoclasts in entertainment. Pushing the line, asking questions that don't typically get asked, subverting the expectations of the kinds of conversations we're allowed to have on our platform. Until the fucking elites kick us off. We're not here to push any kind of underlying agenda or anything like that. And frankly, generally speaking, honestly, I think the point that a lot of critics miss is that nobody's here to get political, alright? Nobody's here to have some other person's worldview just like jammed down their throat. And yet on the other side of the aisle, you have your Destinies, you have your Fantanos, you have your Quentin Reviews, who have their little lanes where they talk about music or gaming or media, and then they needlessly inject it with their own political ideology.
I fucking hate Trump. He makes me every day. He makes it look like adversaries. Frankly, the things that we probably are all adversaries. He's ruining people's lives.
The issue is that it made the content suffer because of how he interjected it unnecessarily. If you are intolerant towards others' beliefs and only encourage diversity of race or sexuality instead of diversity of ideas, then you're going to not only push members of your audience away, but you're also going to be memed and mocked to the bitter end.
And that's why I love Tom. He doesn't stoop to such lows. He doesn't tell me how to think. He doesn't blindly pander to some demographic that would be unsavory to some people. He'll just honestly, quite justifiably, make a little rib at the merchants and the global elites of the world, give cheeky little homages to entertainers who may or may not have had a cult show, and the only thing they had to do to keep it was not be a piece of shit, but I guess that ended up being too much for him. It's hard. It's a lot to ask of a guy.
It was 6 million.
Or maybe he'll occasionally, I don't know, make a whole documentary about a political pundit who's known for selling manure to the masses, stoking the flames of paranoia and bigotry.
He's a testament to the power of the internet and its ability to allow anyone with a vision to grow an audience naturally and go from being a member of the fringe to an advocate for them in the mainstream. The man is a king, if ever there was one. Politics has always been fascinating to me, not necessarily because of the issues themselves or the people involved, but sometimes this can lead to unnecessary pandering.
Hello, and shalom, my brothers.
And my personal favorite pastime, being a merchant.
Let's get right.
This next one's kind of cheating because I'm technically talking about two people, but Augie and Boblex, oh man, I know so much about them. I would work with either one of them because they have such distinct voices and things they're known for that I can name off the top of my head. I see them so much in my timeline, and you would think that would mean that I know what they do. Whatever it is, I know it's a hell of a lot more than just reading tweets that they found.
Let's get right.
But my absolute wet dream fantasy of who I'd like to work with, the subject of everyone's favorite content cop, because that's a series that notoriously only talks about really good people who you should watch all the time, the Lizard King himself, Tetra from Wind Waker. Sure, she inspired an entire generation of teenagers to pursue a career of owning people online and informing the socially unfortunate just how awkward they were in the most empathetic, not at all exploitative way.
Unlike Ethan, who's a fucking Jew.
And sure, he went through a bunch of shit with the likes of Grade A, iDubbbz, and Keemstar, only to double back and say it was all for money in an interview with the Gnome Lord himself. Sure, he's the kind of alpha who did all these things and went on to get into fucking stocks.
Sure, he's such a good person online that despite having production values at a difficulty level of -17 and averaging a minimum of 1 million views since returning, his editor still left and expressed disappointment in his Twitter takes.
But one thing's for sure, he sure was entertaining. He entertained when he regurgitated amazing atheist talking points in an even lazier manner. Entertaining when he used game footage, repeat things, and I hide my face in tribute to him. That's what this design choice is. I love Leafy. I want to work with them. Please come back and make YouTube great again. Mega joke. YouTube and Twitter were so much better when Leafy was around. But yeah, he's my hero. Fuck IHE. Talking about movies and putting effort into his own animation and shit. Cover your face, wear hats, dunk on disabled people, shit out watered down, uninspired clones. It's a great business plan. I could learn a lot from him. Thank you, Brain, for your question.
I know I go from rags to riches. If you would only say you care.
Is this going to make some people upset? Probably, but I'm just so done at this point that I don't care in the slightest.
I'd be a millionaire.